Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Better get the go slow, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Legendary comic book creator Rob Liefeld has decided to end his business relationship with Marvel Entertainment. Now, according to reports, Rob Liefeld is ending his business relationship with Marvel Entertainment on terms that aren't amicable and is extremely upset about the way he was treated during the premiere of the 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, the creator of characters like Cable and Deadpool says that he basically was ignored by Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, and says that he and his family were taking pictures that he thought were going to be featured as related to the promotion. However, he found out that those photos were only, he believes, taken to appease him, and that those photos were deleted. And the final straw for Rob Liefeld as related to the mistreatment he claims he received during the premiere of the blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine was the fact that he was not invited to an after party for the movie after the premiere. Now, this whole situation with Rob Liefeld basically is one that would seem like he was being treated in a very hostile fashion. However, when it comes to many comic creators, they oftentimes wind up in it for a rude awakening as related to Hollywood and the overall entertainment industry. Now, Rob Liefeld basically was a rock star comic artist and comic creator in the 1990s, and he was used to being treated with preferential treatment during times when he was able to attend Comic-Cons, because as a rock star creator, he was basically a big wheel during his time making comics at Marvel, such as the legendary last run of New Mutants from about issue 94 to about 100, and the first couple of issues of X-Force before he, Jim Lee, and Todd McFarlane wound up leaving Marvel Comics and heading over to form their own comic company, Image Comics. And in the world of comic books, Rob Liefeld was seen as a major rock star in the 1990s, whether it be for his legendary New Mutants and X-Force run, or his run on Image books like Youngblood and Supreme. And he basically was a big wheel in that whole space of comic books and the world of comic conventions. However, when he stepped into the world of Hollywood, he basically wound up with a completely rude awakening, as related to the entertainment business, and this is what has him extremely upset regarding the way he was treated by people and executives at Marvel Entertainment during the premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, as someone who has been studying the entertainment industry for over 25 years, I can tell you that what happened to Rob Liefeld is just standard business, and sadly, Rob Liefeld really didn't understand the standard of business as related to Hollywood. Now, Rob Liefeld would be a big wheel in the world of comics, but in the world of Hollywood, he's not anybody really special, and he's not really anybody special because in the world of Hollywood, they basically see him as just another employee, because when he created Deadpool as a work for hire character. And again, when you're working for hire, you are not really owning anything at all. So you don't have a say in anything, because when it comes to the studios, what they are doing is they already own the rights to that intellectual property, because they don't see creations as creations, they see them as intellectual properties. And because they see it as an intellectual property that they own, what they do is, again, they see the property that they're making as their property. Moreover, when they're making their properties, they make adaptations of their properties. So yes, Rob Liefeld created the comic book version of Deadpool, but the movie version of Deadpool is a completely different character. And with the movie version of Deadpool being a completely different character, the movie studios don't see Rob Liefeld as a priority. No, they see their own screenwriters as the ones who are priority. Moreover, they see the executive producer and directors of the Deadpool films as a priority. And for them, a guy like Rob Liefeld isn't important at all. And he isn't important at all in the movie business because, again, the movie business uses terms like adaptation because when they go out here and make a movie based on a comic book character, they are making an adaptation of that character, which is their version of that character. And that's what they are going to make the premiere about. The premiere is focused on the adapted version of that character. And again, that adapted version of that character is the one that they see as the priority. Now, when it comes to most of these movie studios, again, the focus for them is the movie. And when it comes to creators, a lot of times they don't really, again, respect comic book creators because comic book creators are not the priority for their space. No, comic book creators are not the priority for their space. No, when it comes to them, their main focus is getting the property to be the main focus. And usually the premiere is a place where they're promoting the property. So Rob Liefeld was sitting there thinking he was going to be the center of attention, but he wasn't anyone they weren't concerned about at all. No, what they were concerned about was their version of Wolverine and Deadpool, and that was the star of their production. And again, this is what they were focusing on as related to the overall Deadpool and Wolverine, and Rob Liefeld was sitting there thinking he was going to be important, but the whole thing is Hollywood doesn't see many creators as important. This is something that many screenwriters like myself run into as related to the business. We run into this because when it comes to the screenwriter, again, you may create the property, but once you sell the property is theirs. And again, they're going to make their version of your property because they bought the rights for that property. They can do whatever they want with that property and not really have much regard for the original screenwriter. And many screenwriters basically wind up with that rude awakening once they sell their script and then find out that the only people who have real power on a movie set are the executive producer and the director, and they basically are just going to go out here and hire another screenwriter to go rewrite your script. And many screenwriters, they would get upset when they find this out, but that's just part of the business, and part of the business is just accepting that once you got your money, that's just it for you, and once you sell the script, they can do whatever they please with it, and all you can do is just sit there and count your money as related to the overall process, because the creator is the bottom of the totem pole as related to Hollywood. And in Hollywood, the creator basically is the guy who just has to just sit there and accept whatever is, because that's what happens when you sell a script. And that possibly was a complete shock to the system of Rob Liefeld to find out that people like Kevin Feige don't really care about him. It possibly was a major shock to his system to find out that he was nobody in Hollywood, but that's just how things go for any creator, whether it be a comic book creator whose property was, again, work for hire and basically the property of the movie studio, or a screenwriter who, like myself, when I go out here and if I were to sell a script, again, this is just part of the business, and it's a part of the business that most screenwriters are resigning themselves to and just accept, and most of us just, again, are grateful just to get the check as related to this script, which is usually again, 3 to 5% of the production budget if you have a good agent. And you basically take that money, go live very well, and start working on developing and pitching your next script. Because again, with the scripts being the property of the studio, you basically, your job is to just go out here and make sure you make money as related to your next project. But I'm thinking Rob is extremely salty, and extremely salty because he thought that this would be a way for him to get a door open for him as a rock star comic creator. He thought people were gonna know his name. But no, nobody in Hollywood knows the name of Rob Liefeld or any comic creator or even any screenwriter, and they don't really care. No, all they care about is, again, making their movies and, again, making their properties. And again, you just have to take your money as part of the process. You just have to take your money as part of the process and move on. Unfortunately, Rob Liefeld again got that shock to his system and is sitting up here extra salty about things that go on as related to the business, things that have been going on in the business for years, because the business has never really been kind to many comic creators, whether it be the creators of Superman, whether it be the creators of Batman, or any of these creators. Yeah, they'll let these guys come on set, and they might even let them go to the premiere, or even that, or just go or meet with several of the actors, and you have to be just content with that, because again, this is not your property, and again, not your property because you worked at this comic company as a work for hire and employee when you created that character. So the character is the property of Marvel, which is now owned by Disney. So Deadpool is a Disney property, and again, since it's a Disney property, you don't own anything, so nobody needs to regard Rob Liefeld, and nobody in Hollywood cares about Rob Liefeld because he's not anybody important as related to the business. Because the people who are important in the business are those who are WGA and SAG people and DGA people, and most of those people have representation of agents. So anybody who is in Hollywood that people regard, again, are people who are agented, and Rob Liefeld ain't nobody agented. Yeah, he a big wheel in the world of comics. He's a big wheel at the Comic-Cons, but in the world of movies, TV, and Hollywood all around the entertainment industry, he's basically nobody because he's not an owner of anything. No, he's not an owner of anything, so nobody really cares about him. Because in order to be seen as someone who's taken seriously, you need to be someone who is an owner, because an owner is someone who people in Hollywood regard because you have a wealth building asset. And again, for them, it's all about business, and the business is, again, making sure that they can, again, get IPs that they can, again, buy the rights to. And again, when it comes to creators, we're not, again, considered to be that important. No, when it comes to a creator like myself, if Hollywood wants to talk to someone like me, they talk to my agent, and again, the agent will bring the proposal up as related to those rights. And again, what they're going to do is talk about the purchase of those rights, not the option, because option is crap. Option is, oh, we have the option to go out here and see if we can get the financing. And again, this is where they shop your project or your concept around. And after they shop your concept around, basically what they do is, again, make it where that IP loses all of its value all around. So what your agent wants to do is, again, wants to sell those film or TV rights or merchandise rights. And that's the main focus of an agent. Again, the creator isn't an important person in this process. No, all of the deals are usually done through agents. So when people, again, look at Rob Liefeld and him thinking, oh, they're going to treat me real good. No, nobody even cared about Rob Liefeld. The whole thing is that they would go out here and again make an empty gesture as related to a couple of pictures, and again they would take those pictures as a courtesy, but they weren't going to feature them in many features because the features as related to these magazines and websites, it was about Hugh Jackman, it was about Ryan Reynolds. Again, Rob Liefeld wasn't that important. Now, a comic magazine like Wizard, when it was around, a Rob Liefeld picture at a Hollywood premiere would be a big deal. One of these websites like Bleeding Cool, it would be a big deal. Social media, yeah, it would be a big deal over there. But when it comes to Hollywood, again, a guy like Rob Liefeld is not that important. And that's just how the business goes because, again, it's a business of entertainment. And sadly, Rob wasn't there for business and he didn't understand how to do business because, yes, Kevin Feige was going to blow you off, but this was an opportunity for you to go talk to some other producers and pitch some of your other IPs because this IP was already owned by Disney, and again, not important because it already had premiered. And your job when you're in the entertainment business is to start pitching the next IP. And again, Rob Liefeld, this is where he fumbled the football as related to his business and further made himself look even worse optically by going out here on this podcast talking about how he was treated. But he was talking like this because he didn't know how the business worked. No, anybody in the business would have been saying, look, this premiere is an opportunity for me to network and try to pitch another concept or another product or even start talking to people about a new crowdfunding project or a new IP. I mean, this was an opportunity to again expand his business, but Rob Liefeld, being short-sighted, couldn't see the big picture. Because he was so busy thinking he was a big wheel. Again, he's a big fish in the comic book pond, but in the world of Hollywood, he was no one. And again, I would have to believe in some ways this is him reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed, for the way he basically treated people over at Marvel when he was a rock star. And also a way of the way he treated the Wheelers as related to what they allege as related to their business. And again, he thought he could again be a big wheel in the world of comics and not look out for people, but found out that Hollywood wasn't looking out for him. And sadly, he found out when it was all business, he took it personal. And again, taking it personal because he found out that the business of Hollywood has no use for a comic creator who can't even draw feet, according to some people. Again, they had no use for him because, again, they were focusing on their business. But sadly, Rob wasn't focused on his business and didn't know how to make this work for him. I mean, here's a guy who's basically, again, one of the great comic creators, but not really great at managing his business, because here was an opportunity for him to start talking to some agents and talking to some people. And again, these parties are how business is done, because it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, and it's about how you can carry and conduct yourself in a business situation. Because, yeah, Kevin Feige may be the big wheel today, but you might be talking to somebody who might be bigger tomorrow, and your job is to try to make that connection with folks who are getting ready to do something tomorrow instead of focusing on today. And that's where Rob Liefeld basically fumbled the football as related to this opportunity that was given to him at this premiere. I mean, he basically, again, fumbled this football, which basically was a courtesy from Marvel Studios. They gave him a courtesy. Again, this is not something that the studios do really need to do, because when it comes to the studios, again, once they buy the property, it's theirs. And again, they are making their adaptation, which is their version of the character. And again, if they invite you to a premiere, it's just a courtesy. This is just part of the business. I know if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, Sean, we want to make a John Haynes movie, I'd be like, okay, go ahead, and I would sell you the rights for a certain price and 3 to 5% of the production budget, plus royalties in perpetuity. Again, it's all about me getting the cash, and they're going to make whatever movie they want. It's out of my hands because I'm not an executive producer. I'm not a director. Those are the two people who have the power over that film. And again, if they want to bring me on as a consultant or even stick me in a bit role in one of the scenes, hey, cool with that. I'm just going to sit here to get this money and be on about my business. And again, Rob Liefeld didn't know how to do this, and he wants to walk away from Marvel because he feels slighted. And again, he's in his feelings, and he needs to get out of his feelings because when it came to everything here, it wasn't personal, it was just business. Now, if you want to pick up my screenplay, which talks about the business of Hollywood, you can check out my screenplay All About Marilyn, which is available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And if you want to check out my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu for the same price as it was in the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to check out the books of the SJS Direct Universe, you can find all of those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. And there you can pick up all the books such as the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my black sorority novel, The Thetis, my vampire novel, Eternal Night, and my business novel, Recipe for Success. All of these books are available in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com, and you can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos taking comic pros like Rob Liefeld to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback at e-readers, ISIS, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem, Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem, Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available on Lulu, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at lulu.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.